I can sense some sort of disturbance. So what's on you people? I would presume something was beginning to make sense, and now you're flipping out. As Almighty God is continuing you. Um, Here's an example. After denying my Social Security claim and then outlawing permanent Florida alimony, you then change the rules about retroactive pay when you finally get approved for Social Security. So the thoughts in your heads as you're doing that is that so I can't get housing? Like, were you thinking if I don't have any money, I can't get housing? What makes logical sense to me, what the Almighty was actually telling you, is that you don't have any mommies, so you're not getting housed because all of your DNA is being destroyed in your mass extinction. Which should make sense. I mean, it's weird. You prefer to be like that profoundly insane, like bad, rather than just mentally insane and won't listen to what God's telling you. So you're still in some sort of denial about it, which makes it difficult for everybody, obviously. You're frightening people because you keep trying to murder me and others, so it's frightening to people. Yeah. Honestly, all this nonsense about you removing tents in Washington, D.C., you got to close South Station in Boston, you're in another panic frenzy. I'm pretty sure he's telling you that your arteries are closing. Not you're supposed to close South Station and then only ticketed passengers get in. And uh, probably at the base of your brain because of the strokes. Yeah, it's a mass extinction. I was somewhat witness to a man just falling dead in the toilet. You've never heard about people having strokes and they just bloop, heart attacks, bloop, brain aneurysm, bloop. Pretty nice here today. Rain stopped, took a shower, washed out my clothes. My husband took a shower, washed out his clothes. Had lunch, took a walk, chilling. It's a pretty pleasant day, especially for August. Yeah, when the sun goes down, it's gonna be chilly. Sun is very warm. So I got one more thing that's got to be cooked tonight, and then got tuna fish probably tomorrow. Cheese sandwiches, like grilled cheese sandwiches. Got a pepper. I could put pepper in grilled cheese. Got oodles and noodles. Got some egg noodles. So I think that'll get me through Tuesday, Wednesday. I really don't want to buy more food, so also got oatmeal. I don't really have that much peanut butter left. ate all my peanuts, ate my dried fruit. I got a couple things I'm going to end up having to carry around with me because I can't leave any type of food product in my storage. Like we bought a whole thing of instant milk just in case we ran out of coffee creamer. And then it didn't dawn on me to the last, out of 6 weeks, the last week to get light cream. Coffee cream is pretty bad for you. I noticed when we took our little walk that there's like a million people here now when there's typically no one. So Monday after 11, we'll take a walk around and see if anybody left any wood. We just took a walk around. Was it Thursday? Yeah, that's how we know. Like all of these people just came here yesterday for Labor Day weekend. They all have pretty much the same body type. So, and they're loud. You know, my husband and I are very quiet. Well, the sun was nice, like just when I started doing this, a cloud when it was starting to get a little chilly. He's taken his afternoon nap, so I usually just sit here during that time. I already charged the laptop, so I don't have to actually worry about that right now. I suppose I could take a little nap. What time is it now? 3:30. Maybe sleep till about 5 or something. Get up and cook my brats. I bought brats. Yeah, still with the fire pits. These fire pits are terrible. I noticed when we took our walk too, there's like in other sections of it just wasn't meant to be, and it was probably, I guess, to explain to other people about these fire pits. Probably that's probably why. Yeah, if you go just down the road, there's all kinds of kindling. Just forget about this stuff with the yeah, at other campgrounds, it will set on fire and then it makes a nice sort of like it's like a charcoal and it keeps ambers and you just keep putting wood on top of it. But this thing, you cannot stack wood because it's too big. Like, that's one of the things in a traditional fireplace thing. You can stack the wood so, like, to keep crossing them and crossing them so there's air in there. You can't do that because the thing is too big unless you realize that and go, okay, now I'm going to make every stick that width. Yeah, it just still doesn't do it. And no ear can get into it. Yeah, awful. Like pointless, pointless, pointless. I don't know if people started dousing those things with lighter fluid. I could see people doing that. Yeah. Or just throw a whole bottle of hand sanitizer on the thing. But then eventually it's going to go out because no air can get into that thing. They're like pointless fire pits. Like you have to keep feeding it with basically leaves when they're not wet like that to cook your food. Yeah, like we leaves and the driest of smallest of kindling. Yeah. So walked over by the big bare hole and it looks like that thing looks like it's new, that monstrosity they built up there, that gazebo thing, and just parking lots everywhere. I call it the obligatory. They've all got to justify the expenditures for the camping equipment and the RVs and feel like they did something all summer. It's like the one of those obligatory weekends they got to take those kayaks out and stuff, and that's like the new trend. Apparently, everyone's doing that. Yeah, sometimes I just feel like because I mentioned online, obviously, about excursions that my husband and I were discussing on our trip. So it becomes maddening because not only are they all copying stuff, they don't even know why they're copying it. Even if they heard me say it and then did it, they forget. So it's just I have to ignore it all. Yeah, because I would actually go mad. I really don't like, I think, big family get togethers. I don't remember ever liking that, but I did have a very dysfunctional family. Yeah. Mm. I don't like a lot of noise. I'm a very quiet person. Had a very quiet household with my children and stuff. I'm clearly not alone because there was some year-round campground that was explaining to people that they do have events on the weekends and sometimes during the week, and that it causes noise. Yeah, so clearly I'm not alone in that. Yeah, just one more night. Yeah, tomorrow night doesn't count. I mentioned that. Yeah, because after tonight, it's only one more day. Like it's all day tomorrow, and then they go to sleep and they got to get up and pack up in the next morning. So it's really only one more night. Yeah, I know the people that were next to us before. When they first got here, they kind of hung out at their campsite all day, and then they were only here 2 days. The second day, they were gone the entire day. They finally realized there's all sorts of like there's a playground, there's all kinds of trails, there's five ponds they call it. One of them's kind of big, like that big bear hole and stuff. Yeah, I think they had bicycles and kayaks too. So they finally got themselves going and spent like the entire day out with their kids, which must have been nice. So I could probably spend, a few hours walking around the trails myself. I did that in 2019. I didn't smoke then. I was somewhat not really following my diet, but I was eating a lot of nuts and seeds and flaxseed and stuff. I was putting them on tortillas, and I wasn't really eating any cooked food. You know, really was not eating any cooked food for. I went out to New Mexico for 6 weeks, and then I was street homeless, uh, not really going into the shelter, and then eventually I went into the shelter. But yeah, I left the house in Dedham on April 1st, and I spent the night at the shelter. I tried to actually book a hotel, and they wouldn't let me do it because I didn't have a credit card. My hand to God, just people are so damned and so monstrously insane. In 2019, yeah, you couldn't just put a handful of cash down. You have to have a credit card. So life was not like that before, in case people didn't know that. There are people who hate credit cards and never got one their entire lives. So, anyways, went into the shelter that night, went to South Station. The train left on the 2nd of April, 4-2, leaving on 4-2. Someone once insisted I left on 4-1. I left the house on 4-1. I left Massachusetts on 4-2, I remember, because 4-2 means a train, and I left on a train. So, anyways, takes 3 days to get there. I was out there for 6 weeks, came back on a bus um, after someone finally bought me a bus ticket. And because they shut my food off, I explained it. I didn't even have an income. Okay, they shut the SNAP food card off, so illegal imprisonment, holding me a hostage in the state of Massachusetts, and other states are willing to starve me to help you do it. In a profound insanity where you're going to hold hostages all over the country and not get nuked. Didn't work. Okay, so um, caused you to be nuked, not it stopped you from being nuked. So um, I was sort of outside, and there was like two separate times I went camping with Tommy and Barbara because they were camping. They weren't at the house, and then they went back to the house. I think about September maybe, and then I went back there in October, and that or September, October, and then that's when the house was auctioned off, and when the woman attacked me. And then it was within a couple of weeks, Barbara again kicked me out of her house. Between that amount of time of defending her, she spun it around and then kicked me out. So then I was back at the shelter, and then that's when they put me in that rooming house, and I was only there for 3 weeks, right? And then I went back to the house in Dedham, and I was there until 2020. I went out to Quincy briefly, and I did not ever go in the shelter. It was closed. It was during the entire horrifying COVID, as you call it, when you didn't pay any rent and you didn't pay utilities and you had a free bus and you got free cash and extra SNAP. And I was just outside. You couldn't get into the shelter. I wasn't wearing a face mask. Saw how mentally ill people were because they all had the face masks on. Um, went camping on the beach with a friend of mine until people wouldn't stop attacking us. And then I went back to the house again. That's what they do. That's what animals do. When you're outside like that, you can't be safe because you're supposed to be in a tree. You're supposed to be in a tree with the dominant gorilla. It's a profound, morbid, mental incident. So the nuclear in the driving is compassionate when people become that profusely insane. I would think most people would agree. I just explained the behaviors that you people did and why you did it and why you continue to do it. It's sort of like a doctor. Okay, just were you thinking that if I don't have money, I can't get housing? And then that was your goal. And am I supposed to work? And Alfred, who got a girlfriend in 2009, was I supposed to live in the house with them or live, next door and he has two wives because he's a dominant male gorilla? There's no mommies. All your DNA is being destroyed. You can't rebirth again because there's no mommy for you to rebirth into. It's not about me. It's about there's no more mimicry, so I can't rebirth from one of your people here. I won't be reborn on this land piece. Right. Mothers, not money. Okay. Mothers, not money. DNA structures, not houses. And I walk, not I work. That's why you have alimony for women that were married and child support when they produce children with these men. I don't know what this is with the single mothers that you give housing, other than you're grotesque and you think you're the dominant male gorilla. That's all that can be. That's really all that can be. The government is the dominant male gorilla, and that's why you put pregnant women that are unwed in housing. That's why you try to keep putting me in a rooming house, in a studio, and in a hotel. As a female, you actually typed it. It's profuse, morbid mental illness. It's kind of no different than Alzheimer's, as you know what Alzheimer's is. Okay, as you degrade into a non-human being. The copying each other mad like that is part of primate behaviors. That's why they throw out nonsense phrases, nonsense news stories, and other things people are doing to see if you begin copying it. You're actually supposed to copy me, but you don't do that anymore because you're not able to. Okay, and you don't want to because other people are clearly attacking me and other people like me. And now they're trying to tell you that if you try to set up a tent and stuff, they're going to tear it down. Well, it's probably frightening to them when more and more people go, we're just sitting here like, what's the problem? And they won't stop attacking us because they're frightened. So that's why I asked, what's going on? There's medications to help keep you people calm. You're supposed to be maintaining peace and safety. I don't know how trying to get people pissed off about you're attacking homeless people again. It maintains peace and safety. Just over and over and over again. You clearly have brain disease. You won't stop trying to cause uprisings and chaos and yelling and stuff because that's what primates do. Nothing's going on but a somewhat slow dying off of your entire species. Okay, like maybe pick up a kayak and stuff like these other people if you're bored like that. I don't get why you care if there's a bunch of people up there in tents. I don't get it. I really don't. You just keep doing it in all these cities because I think that you realize that you could be doing that too, but you won't do it. You know that by doing that, people don't then give us housing. So why are you still doing it? And clearly, they're not opening up the state forest for us to live in, either or the federal forest for us to live in. You just go, and then you also know from past experiences, like during COVID, that these other people go insane and they're wicked violent and stuff towards us. They believe they're supposed to do what you're doing. You know they do it, and you still won't stop doing it. You know their brains are gone, like they're at the fig tree. This is what everyone's doing now. $600 to rent a room in my house. You have to have perfect credit and no overnight gas, and your income has to 3 months exceed your rent. Yeah, I mean, clearly, you for some reason you don't think a tent is a tree. It has to be like a housing structure. A trailer's okay, or you gonna start that stuff with trailers too after the tents are gone? Right? You just go, why are you not just printing us enough money to pay rent? See how none of that makes any sense? You already reached crimes against humanity. Yeah, you just go, that's not, you gave us a house. Like other people own these trailer parks. Why are we not getting enough money to pay that? I mean, why would we need a housing voucher? We don't need housing vouchers when you give us enough money to pay it. I know you go, and now you're not getting your retro. Ah. Obviously, my husband and I could have lived off of that the rest of our lives. You know, I was entitled to alimony. Even 1 year of it, I could have lived off $40,000 probably the rest of my life. 1 year. And you know you're the people that took it away. You gave out trillions of dollars to people called the emergency thing with the COVID and didn't give it to me, but you just don't give me a lump sum of money. We realize this huge injustice and this woman's caught with this whole Florida alimony. Da, 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 da. There you go. Who cares? No one else's life is mine. That's not fair. We want it. How is that going on? Because you're not me. What do you mean that's not fair? Christ God. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a cup of coffee. I don't usually do that at this time of the day, but I didn't have any soda today. Yeah, maybe I'll have a cup of coffee. It's starting to get a little chilly. Sometimes in the afternoon, my husband will have coffee. He actually likes tea. He'll have tea sometimes. I know, watch, right when he's getting up, I'm going to feel like I can take a nap. That does happen. But I tend to stay up later than him, so it's probably better I don't. Because then he'll have to wake me up for dinner and I'll be cranky. Yeah, that's why yeah, I know you go, isn't this the thing so you can lay down in the afternoon? I'm laying down about 7:30 at night. Yeah, that seems to be kind of enough laying down, but are you going to take a nap with that going on? Now, this is an example since I have the live stream going. Can you hear that you don't hear any adult voice? That's exactly what I was saying. You don't hear any adult voice telling the child to stop yelling like that. This is a different family, too. That's why they have the adult only cruises. Not here, but on the cruise, there's sort of a way that you can get people like that to drag their children away from you. Yeah, there's certain like speech you can do, behaviors, not towards the child, but like it makes a parent so uncomfortable they'll drag the child away from you finally, like on the pool deck. Yeah, you can't bring marijuana on, but that's why some people will light up. Yeah, you light up, you start talking about alcohol, you start cussing, like really inappropriate talk. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. Time for the kids program. Yep, time for the kids program. Excuse me. Yeah, so far I haven't gotten up to heat up water. No, he's not sleeping. Maybe I'll actually lay down for a little bit. Maybe I'll get up and boil water, or maybe I won't. I don't know yet. I know I almost feel like I'm hungry, but I really shouldn't be. I don't know, maybe we'll eat dinner early if he wakes up. Oh, the heck caused that? That was like the slightest of breeze just made a bottle roll right off the table. Alright, I guess I'll shut this thing off because it's pretty boring. I already flipped the clothes. I'm just like staring at the clothes and it's like I already flipped. I guess I could fold up the trash bag and put it away. Take the top off for the rest of the day. Give me something to do.